Welcome back to Saffa's Unscripted, episode 170, bro. 170 episodes. That is ridiculous. Anyway, what a shit weekend. As a Stormers fan, as a Tottenham fan, just as a South African rugby fan. Now, I know the Bulls won or whatever, right? But none of us progressed. So we're going to chat about it. But first, how you doing?
Yeah, at least the Bulls won. That's what I can say. That's great news. But yeah, and we won well enough to compete for the Challenge Cup. So that's as much as it's not the
don't
same
even get
thing.
me started. Don't even get me
As
started.
much as it's not the same thing, it's like at least we're competing for something. Yeah, and then
What are you just rubbing it in my face now?
No, I just realized you guys are completely out, and I'm like, oh yeah, flip. Yeah.
Talking about the Stormers, or us, let's talk about the Stormers. We'll jump straight into it, right? But first, people, if you do like the channel, do remember to like and subscribe. We do appreciate you guys. How many are we on at the moment, by the way? I think I might be on the wrong channel here. Let me check. 1.6. 1.62. So yeah, we pushing on nicely. Everyone, thank you for your love and support. We do appreciate you guys. But anyway, enough with the bullshit, right? We spoke about the Stormers team when it got announced. And Confucius is an understatement, right? Because we go full strength in the forwards. Well, kind of. No Dion Fourie, no Ben Jason Dixon. But I didn't have a problem with the forwards. Then you look at the backs and you're like, what happened over here? Right? We spoke about it before the game and we had our preview and I was so confident. I was like, look at these guys. They're oozing confidence again. You can see they want to play for their jersey and everything. It's a must-win game. And we put out that team. Explain it to me, please, bro. We didn't even have the big guns on the bench.
Yeah, it was a very weird team. Like, as much as there were like those players that you knew could do a job, there were also those players that you thought, like, why? Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And it was a very interesting, like, rotated team in a sense, where it's half players that are like the usual starting 15, and then some that are like haven't touched the starting 15 for a long time. Your main man, Clayton Blommetjies, you immediately said to me, like,
listen. I'm not a big fan of Clayton Blommetjies. I don't know why he plays for the Stormers, but I'm not going to beat around the bush. I thought he was fine. Like, I didn't have a big issue with Clayton Blommetjies' game, right? But I just felt like the chemistry was off. Even the decision-making, right? Let's start off with the decision-making. We dominate for the first 6, 7, 8 minutes, right? Dominate. We get a penalty, like kind of near the touchline. We haven't even tested our line-out mauls. We kick for goal. While we know we need every single point that we possibly can get, we've got the pressure on them. We've got the upper hand at the scrum. Like, why not just go for the line-out and go big or go home, right? Now we kick 3 points. Our defense was all over the place. I've never seen so many missed tackles in one game. Like, I'm pretty sure Joshua Tuisova is going to haunt Jean-Luc du Preez for a couple of years after that. Like, oh my goodness, right? We put so much pressure on them. Once again, just soft tries, just letting it in. Letting Racing play their game. Missed tackle after missed tackle after missed tackle. It was an utter joke. Dewald Dovenacher. I don't have a problem with Dewald Dovenacher. Why is he playing? Right? Like, he's got a good pass, but he's not one of those guys that can snipe or whatever. We saw all the gaps that Racing left us. You saw the difference Herschel Jantjies made when he came onto the field. And Herschel Jantjies isn't even the best in the world. Right? But Dewald Dovenacher, how many times was there sniping opportunities or whatever, right? Just doesn't take it. Herschel, one of his first touches, goes blindside quickly. He takes the gap and makes us and gets us that try. Why is Dewald Dovenacher playing? Well, we have Stefan Ungerer, Paul de Vet, and Herschel Jantjies. I don't even know if Ungerer or Paul de Vet's injured. So what's the reasoning behind playing Dewald Dovenacher? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, like, it doesn't make sense to me, the fact that, and like you said, we don't have problems with these guys, but Dewald Dovenacher, Clayton Blommetjies, when last have you seen them have a frequent run of games for the Stormers? or even play for the Stormers.
They didn't even play when we had our injury crisis.
Exactly.
But now we want to pick them for a must-win game.
And then you have Marnie Libok and co sitting, and Ben Jason Dixon, etc., sitting on the sidelines watching. Now, whether that's injury or not, I'm personally not educated on the situation. But if it wasn't an injury thing, which it can't be, because then why would they travel? Like it mind blows me that.
Don't tell me it's to save them for Leinster, right? We'll be fine in the URC, even though if we lose to Leinster, right? I don't care about Leinster. You play what's in front of you. What's going on? After Dobbo's comments of like, we are going to give it our best shot and whatever, and then you put out a stinker like that.
The other issue I have, right, is the fact that I was actually fairly happy with what you guys were producing. I know you said there was a few things like line-out defense, etc., and I agree with you there. But I thought the Stormers were holding their weight respectfully, right? Now, if you add like Marnie Libok, Ben Jason Dixon, and the list goes on, you start Francois Haber maybe. I promise you now that's a different game, because, like you said, there was no chemistry. You felt like there was no chemistry, but you still felt like you had an opportunity in winning that game. I personally believe there was definitely an opportunity.
I agree. And you don't deserve to win the game with that many missed tackles, so many of your own lineouts lost, so many of this, so many of that. Ridiculous.
And like you said, the decision making in the first couple minutes, you haven't even tested your lineout, but you go for 3. And then there's an opportunity to go for 3 to kind of keep the game tight, and you go for the lineout, and if I'm not mistaken, you lose the lineout. It's like
we lost about 80% of them.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, but I think ultimately, I think that this comes down to management. Like, you cannot select a team like that. Obviously,
players need the decision making of going for 50 meters out from nearly the touchline instead of just going for touch. Like, well, we are literally, if we score there, we could have possibly secured a victory, right? Because then we had all the momentum, we got the lead, and we got the bonus point. But we kicked for 3, like, from that angle. Are you kidding me? What's the thought process around it? Like, it just didn't, so many things just didn't make any sense. I'm not a rugby expert, right? But you can kind of, as a fan, you still know the game. You can still watch the game with your eyes, and you're like, that just doesn't feel right. Because there was that patch when I told you, listen, this is not looking good, and all of a sudden we just switched on, right? Why not just keep going? Like, why would you change the game?
Yeah, it's a problem all South African teams have, right? I'm yet to see a South African team go out there for 80 minutes and perform for 80 minutes. Like, it means something to them. It's always a half or a last 20 or the first 20. And we can get onto the first 20 with the Sharks when we talk about them, and then we can move on to what happened in the last 60. It's utterly ridiculous. Like, at this point, like, I think we need to, should we change our expectations of our South African team?
No.
We're so quick to talk about, oh, we can achieve this, we can achieve that. But reality is, we're going to France or wherever, or anywhere in Europe, and we're getting battered. They're coming here, and they're winning. It's like, where's the issues? Because I'm not even talking about just the Stormers. I'm talking about the Bulls. They lost to Saints. We're at home. Talk about the Sharks. Obviously, look, Toulouse are a great team, but they still lost to Toulouse with a very good team.
Got whacked by Leicester Tigers.
Oh yeah, well, it's just these things. Like, it's starting to become embarrassing. And I saw someone like make a video about this on a different platform, talking about how what are we doing? Like, they started bringing up the fact that they miss Super Rugby and stuff, and I'm just like, it can't be that bad. Like, obviously, they miss us in Super Rugby, I'm sure, but I think we're in a very competitive league now with the URC, and then we're still in the Champions Cup, competing there. But it's a mockery to have no South African teams when we are the world champions, by the way, 4 times, and we can't even put a team in the round of 16. It's just like, I think there's some serious issues going on within whatever it is: depth, coaching, players' attitude, rest. I don't know, but there's something going wrong, and it has to be changed. So,
bro, it was absolute foolishness watching that game. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. At some points, we looked really good. I was very confident after that first 10 minutes. I was like, okay, well, we're playing some rugby, but then we went for the 3, and I'm like, I hope this doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. And it's like, then lineouts, we just don't learn our lesson, right? There's no creativity or anything in it. Just like plain and simple, they steal it once again. How many lineouts did they steal? 5 meters out. Bro, it is crazy. Now, I do want to give, maybe a shout out is the wrong word, but like credit to Evan Roos. That guy was everywhere. Absolute monster. Obviously, he's got a little knock on his cheek now, so he'll probably be out for the Leinster game, but at least it's not like a muscle injury or anything like that. It's just a knock. Yeah. But then also, I don't want to take anything away from Racing, right? Nolan Legarek. How good. We've been talking about DuPont. We've talked about Luku. We've talked about Baptiste Seren, how good he's been for Toulon. Nolan Legarek has just played on Saturday and said, listen, I think people have forgotten how good I am. That's why I'm second choice at the moment in the Six Nations. That guy ran the show. He was incredible. Him and Joshua Tuisova, and even Owen Farrell had a good game. But wow, holy shit. It's been a long time since I've seen such a dominating performance by one guy.
Yeah, I think it's very clear to see who has the best scrum halves in the world. Like, the French scrum halves are something else. Like, I kid you not, like, you think Dupont's one of a kind, which he is, but then you get guys like you say, Seren, sorry, what's this guy's name? Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation is terrible. I don't want to even attempt it. But, like, these guys are all just stepping up week in, week out, and they're producing such... France in general are just producing... I feel like France are producing some of the best talents in the world. And like you said, I mean, take nothing away from Racing. Like, I think they fought hard. They've been a very inconsistent team so far this season, and they stuck to their guns and they won. And I think one thing the Stormers did do well was I think they contained Daimani very well. You could see they really wanted to let him know that.
Yeah, he didn't really get over the gain line or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
But other than that, I think maybe they were too focused on him because like Farrell, obviously great game, and look, Racing have some serious talents. Obviously, I don't think they'll go very far in this maybe quarterfinal max, but yeah, take nothing away. I think they are very strong. The French teams and you could say the Irish teams and the English teams, etc. I think we need to
Racing's out, by the way. Racing is in the Challenge Cup.
Sorry, my apologies. They're in the Challenge Cup. Yeah, my apologies. But my point is, I think we need to take a look in the mirror and just be like, look, at the end of the day, these guys are producing it week in, week out. And we can talk about depth, but we produce a lot of rugby players in this country.
Yeah, well, we're letting them all go. That's the issue.
That's the problem. And
why do I look at the Storm's depth and I'm looking at... I don't want to mention Clayton Blommetjies' name because I truly do believe he was fine, right? I thought Ben Loader was also good. But then I'm looking at depth and why is Dewald Duvenage playing above Imad Khan?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
The thing is, these superstars are born in games like this. You can also say they break in games like this, but in my personal opinion, the only way someone gets ready for the big time is when you put them in the big time. Like,
exactly.
You can't say swim in the shallow end until you're 18 years. Like, do you get what I'm saying? You learn to swim when you're young, and they progressively take you to the deep end quicker rather than waiting, forever. You can't just say...
Bro, you look at this SA20, right, the cricket. I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
Well, the Paul Royals are playing Luandre Pretorius, 18 years old, and he's the top run scorer
as well.
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I get you.
Don't
I get you.
obviously age plays a bit more of a role when it comes to rugby and stuff, but it's not like Ivan Khan hasn't played. He understands it. He's played in the Curry Cup and stuff. But I thought this would have been a sensational experience for him to go and play there because there was still experience on the field. Like it could have been a good thing for him. But anyway, let's move on from the Stormers. Before I just throw my mic, let's go to your happy place. Obviously, it wasn't good enough to go any further, but we already knew that last week. But surely you, as a Bulls fan, would be happy with that performance. I thought it was a pretty solid performance by the Bulls as a whole. I know it wasn't like a full strength Stade Francais team or anything like that, but you can take a lot of confidence from that going into next weekend. You knew this was a must-win game for you in terms of getting that confidence to go into these derbies and to get a 48-7 victory. Nicely done.
Yeah. Look, I think game by game we keep learning that Cameron Honeycomb is just the future of this country when it comes to rugby. Like,
wow.
And I'm never one to do this. I never want to like really put the people on a pedestal because I get so scared that it backfires. But like,
you have to at some point.
Screw it. And this kid is ridiculous. Like I have no words for him anymore. Like he's the most complete loose forward in South African rugby at the moment. And obviously, look, there's maturing that needs to be done.
Because Peter Steph's injured again. Have you heard?
No, I didn't hear about that. Do
Yeah,
you want to break?
He's out until May with a shoulder thing.
Okay, it is what it is.
That's lovely little rest before he comes back for the Springboks.
Exactly. At least it's not after July. But Marcel Coetzee in his fifth. Was it his 50th? I can't remember. It was one of the big milestones. Awesome game. I thought he was phenomenal. I love the back three of Cameron Honeycomb, Ulrich Lowe, and Marcel Coetzee. You can chop and change with Marco van Saar in there, I don't mind. But that back three has to be nailed on. Like, I love it. And also, I love our front row. I love our forwards. I think our forwards are so good. And again, we also saw Stedman.
So you love everyone except for the Locks. Is that because you still have the hopes and dreams to play for the Bulls?
The Locks are great. Nokia, I mean, it's so good to have him back. Like, I miss that guy. But I just want to shout out Stedman Hunt. We spoke about this and we said, listen, what happened? The guy was playing sensational rugby, and then Jay kind of just said, okay, cheers, bud. You can take bench or reserves. And he's come back ever since Jake's given him another opportunity. And again, proven why I believe he should be our 13. Like, phenomenal.
He was sensational.
Exactly. Like, he brings so much flair to
one of the biggest forward passes that you'll see.
Yeah, well,
but other than that, what a game.
So, and Devin Williams, look, I did speak about him not being the future, but again, he performed well. But look, it is one game. We did lose 4 in a row before this. Lions up next at Emirates Airline Park. Not going to be easy, but I fully expect to win. So
yeah, you have to.
They have to back that up. Yeah,
standards, bro. That's always the thing. And just to go on from your point, Cameron Honeycomb, he's so class. Like, he's probably the best South African player at the moment.
Yeah.
Like
that's
what I mean. Like, on form, he's a monster. He does absolutely everything. The only thing that he hasn't done is put a little grubber kick in. Like, I haven't seen him done that. But the guy is sensational. I don't see him miss tackles. He was in that maul, right? The only guy, and he wraps that maul up like it's nothing. And he rips balls, and he doesn't just rip the ball out and the ball pops loose. He rips the ball, gets the ball, makes some meters again. Like, he's just an absolute dog all over the field. What a gem of a player that we have there. And I would love, obviously, Rusty knows a lot more than us and stuff, but I would love for him to take this year by the scruff of the neck and say, listen, Cameron, we're backing you, even if whether it's from the bench or whether it's even in the starting lineup. Like, he's got a role to play. In my opinion, he suits that number 8 jersey from the start sensationally for the Springboks because he plays that feature role as well. Like, he's so good at the breakdown as well.
He reminds me of, obviously, I think he has potential to be a better player, but he reminds me of Spies. Like,
yes, in terms of his carrying and stuff.
But
just
the
wild.
thing is, Spieth wasn't necessarily just all about physicality. Spieth was all about, he had speed, because obviously, he played wing at a stage, but
Yeah.
he was a very physical carrier, but at the same time, the man had speed. He looked for gaps, and that's what Hanekom does. He's so quick. His work rate is insane. He is built very well, very well. He could play any position in the loose trio, in my opinion. He's not just an 8. And I like the way that the Bulls are using him in the sense that sometimes they don't even let him stick in the midfield just to carry it up. They'll play him out wide, like a McCaw used to do, where let him take it on the wing, let him play that pass over the top. Yeah, so look, I couldn't be happier with a player like that. I just hope that he can kick on this year and seriously make a claim, for that.
If Ivan Ruiz can play like he played this weekend every single game, and how he's been kind of playing when he's been match fit, that battle is interesting once again, right? Between Hanekom and Ivan Ruiz. At the moment, like I'll tip it to Hanekom. He's been more consistent, or he's played more consistently than Ivan. But I think that's a lovely little battle for years to come. And obviously, you still have Jasper Wiese in there as well. So, I mean, we are blessed as South Africans. Anyway, let's go on to the Sharks. I don't think we need to say much about this one, because it's like you get a 12-point lead. What was it, in 11 minutes? Right?
9 minutes, bro. Literally just bang, bang, score. I was like, damn, these guys are looking.
I don't even care about the 12-0 lead, right? Maybe a little bit. But what is unacceptable is to have 66 unanswered points. I was so certain the Sharks are getting 1 point. They had nothing.
Like, not even that. Like, I get that's very valid. But what's even worse is the Sharks didn't learn their lesson once. They didn't learn it twice, not 3, not 4, not 5. But 6 times they let Damien Penaud score. 6. Does it not cross your mind that maybe you should understand that he is a threat, one of the best wingers in the world, and you should probably put someone on him? No, we'll let him score 6 times. Like, obviously, yes, there was like a run-in try and whatever, but like still, regardless, like I think the Sharks have done themselves no favors yet. Like, that is embarrassing. Absolutely.
Penaud has equaled the record now for Chris Ashton for the most tries in the
Champions League. One behind, eh? Or is he?
No, it's 10 and 10.
Oh, is it 10 and 10?
I saw it today. So it's 10 and 10. It's round of 16. So if they advance,
6
like,
tries,
for sure.
right? That's a double hat trick.
Yeah. Like, no, it's not, because 4 tries is double hat trick.
Okay, whatever. Whatever. But the point
is ridiculous. Letting someone score 6 tries.
No, but
as the South African teams combined scored 6 tries. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
my word.
Look, this does mean that Bordeaux are the number 1 seed. Like you said, we're not taking anything away from Bordeaux. We knew from the get-go the Sharks were not winning this game. However, we did not think they would lose by 54 points. That is disgraceful. With a team that you expect to compete. Not asking you to win, but compete. And you didn't even do that. They gave 20 minutes.
I said by 9. I said Bordeaux by 9. I switched it then to 19. But I was so convinced that the Sharks will find a way to score 4 tries. And they came out of the blocks flying. And coming out of the blocks flying like that was probably the worst thing that they could have possibly done, because I think that just woke a demon up inside of Bordeaux, where they were just like, fuck that. Yeah.
And this is why I called it, man. When we first spoke about how in that last round where there was an opportunity, and I said, oof, there could be something tastier. Yeah. And I said the Sharks could, and that's exactly what they did. Like, it's with a team like that, I'm shocked. Like, I'm genuinely, I understand Bordeaux is a seriously good team. I understand you have to understand. Obviously, as a rugby player, me personally, and I know a lot of other people, you don't ever go into a game thinking we're going to lose this bad. And I always go into a game like, I want to try and win this game. I don't care if you put the Springboks in front of me or whoever it is. Like, I want to try and win the game because that's me. But, like, to lose the game 66-12, and like you said, 66 unanswered points, that's criminal. Like, that is sackable. Like, How on
Yeah.
earth do you do that?
No, Brevin, we don't even want to talk about sacking anymore because we've brought this up a couple of times. That is just unacceptable.
Yeah,
Like,
that also comes down to players. Like a coach doesn't coach you to lose that bad. I'm sorry. Like,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have
But
much more to say about the Sharks, but yeah.
no, me neither. We're done with the South African teams. Thank you. Now we can smile. The weekend was set up beautifully on Friday night, right? Because obviously we thought the Sharks game will be a bit closer. We both knew Bordeaux was going to win, but we thought, listen, the Sharks might get their bonus point or keep it a bit closer, have some fire in their belly. Ulster made it tough for the Sharks because they went out, did their job, got their 5-point victory over Exeter. Not 5-point victory. They got their 5 points from the victory over Exeter and beat them by 28 points, which obviously made the points difference very close for the Sharks. But there was still leeway for the Sharks to do it, and I was like, yeah, well, now it's kind of touch and go, but I backed the Sharks to do it. Brilliant performance by Ulster. They really just kind of came alive in that final 20 minutes, and Exeter didn't have any answers for it, really. Like, well done to Ulster for staying in it for a bit, and then, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We knew that would be the case. Like, ultimately, Exeter are just, I don't know. Exeter,
Yeah.
And
Exetering the competition.
yeah.
That is horrific. That is horrific. My apologies, people.
But yeah, look, they did what they needed to do, and that's exactly what happened. And like, you got to give credit where credit is due. And the only person to blame here, right, is the Sharks. Like, they can only blame themselves for anything. Like the rest did what they needed to do, and kudos to them because it means it's a team that knows what they have to do and they do it anyway. And that shows that's a good characteristic for a team to have.
You know what is a good characteristic, Brevan? To get a sneaky win at the death to top your pool. Northampton Saints gets over the line against Munster by 2 points, 34 points to 32. What an absolute banger of a game!
And I mean,
Henry Pollard comes up, makes the difference. Bang, they win.
That kid, you know how embarrassing it must be for a 19-year-old to come onto the field and he's like
29.
literally 20, but he's dominating grown men. Like, it's like, it must be the worst feeling ever. Like, there's this 20-year-old that's just dominating the game and you're just like, this kid shouldn't even be in the senior team. He should be in the under 20s. Like, what the hell? But yeah, like I said, that is a guy to watch for the future. Like, he's
picked up a lot of size, since he's joined. Like, I don't know. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. But like, when I see the guy, I'm like, he looks a lot bigger than he looked on TV when he played for the under 20s. Maybe it's just better cameras or whatever. But he looks like he's put on some juice.
Yeah, well, I think it's
not juice as in steroids, by the way.
Yeah, we know by size. But I think it's important for every player to realize you can't, even at a young age, you can't stay the same because every player has to develop their body. Because ultimately, like the game does get harder as you get older. So yeah, but ultimately, I think Saints. You look at their run now. I think they play Clermont in the round of 16, and then they either play Castres or Benetton in the quarterfinal if they beat Clermont. So
yeah, they're playing Clermont. Yeah,
and it's both home games. So Saints, realistically, in my opinion, should find themselves in a semi-final against Leinster or Glasgow, who are in the other part of the bracket, who will probably face each other in the quarterfinal. So
yeah,
it's looking spicy, and Saints are a real threat in my opinion. When they're on fire, they're on fire. So
yeah, and that's the thing is, like, Saints will probably have their injuries back at the time that these games get played, because I think it's only in April again that the Champions Cup resumes, right? So then you'll see the likes of a Hindi and Furbank getting back into this team. I'm not sure who else is injured, but those are obviously two names that just popped into my head. So yeah, things are looking good for Saints because they struggled at the start of the season, but they've really picked up their game, and massive win, massive one. Clermont edged it out against Bristol Bears. I didn't manage to watch this game. Looks like it was an exciting one. Once again, a close one. But Bristol, that dark horse shout was an absolute champ. All of my shouts this weekend was shocking. My predictions were absolutely horrific. But yeah, 7-point victory to Claremont. Did you manage to see anything on this game, or are we skipping it?
Obviously, look, there's a lot of rugby on and the Champions Cup is on, so it's tough to watch it all. But I think Claremont, good on them. They've now made it through, obviously, to the round of 16. Obviously, a tough task to beat Saints away. But I was chatting to my mate who is a Saints fan, and he says in the past, Claremont have had the better of Saints in many different games. So
yeah, but Saints do have that home ground advantage now.
Yeah, so that's I kind of said to him, there's no excuses, but he seemed to think that Claremont will put up a fight. So yeah, I'd like to
of course they will.
Yeah, so yeah, I think just kudos to them, because I think we look at a lot of the French teams. They just we're in the round of 16. Okay, we're in the round of 16. Okay, we're in the round and then you get the Saffas. Okay, we're in the Challenge Cup. Okay, we eliminated from the whole thing. Okay, so it's like, but that's good. That's good. I think it humbles us a lot, and yeah.
No, it doesn't, because we will only flex the international trophies once again.
That's fine, but I even said it when we lost to Saints. I said a Saffa always has to be humbled at some point. So
yeah, anyway. Fair enough. Leinster beating Bath. Bath had the lead at halftime. Very good game, but I've seen a lot of people talking about the ref. I've seen a lot of people talking about the ref during this game and said, listen, obviously when you talk about the ref, you don't want to take anything away from Leinster themselves. But obviously, even if you have the ref a bit on your side, I mean, still to have that fight back and win the game with 26 points.
Yeah.
Did Bath get a red card? I think the prop got a yellow and then he got sent off on another yellow, but in the scrum.
So what happened was, I remember he got a yellow. I don't know what he got the yellow for the first time. I wasn't watching then, but there was a scrum. And I think this is very harsh, right? I get it. Like, Leinster scrum was demolishing Bath. Like, there's no two ways about it. And I get there needs to be a punishable offence, etc. I get it. But to give a guy a second yellow, which means you have to give him a red card because he's getting dominated in a scrum. It's not like he's intentionally doing it. He's just getting flattened. To give a red is harsh. I think there needs to be a thing that maybe the rule stipulates. Sure, he can go off, but a replacement can come on. Like, I'm sorry.
I've never been a fan of the yellow on a scrum. Like, that is like literally sending a guy off for missing tackles and stuff. Like, you just can't hold the other guy's scrum. Like, the other guy's just too strong. I get it's crazy.
Like, it was bad.
And Brevin, you already get an advantage and then the penalty. Like, what more do you want? Do you want uncontested scrums and taking away your advantage? Sure,
but it's rough. Like, but ultimately, right? Again, we have to bring up a Saffa at some point. Like, Achius Snyman, this man is something else. Have you ever seen a man steal a line out, not by tapping it, but by catching it one-handed? Like, okay, cheers.
It's not his first time.
One-handed steal, like, and just like his carrying was good.
He's so good.
I want to give credit to someone who I believe is going to be the best flyer in the world in, let's say, a year's time. Give him a run of internationals this year. Sam Pendergast, that guy is incredible. Like, I cannot. I'm one to say I'm not the Irish's biggest fan. Obviously, I respect every team. That's how I am. But I can proudly say that I'm not the biggest fan of that Irish team. That guy is in, and then you have Gibson Park again, who just looked incredible again. Like, those two are I don't know about how old Gibson Park is at the moment, but Pendergast is the future of that. He fits the Sexton mold to a T, and Sexton worked for Ireland. So I promise you, you're going to see the next Sexton probably better, in my opinion. Like, he is incredible.
Do you reckon that'll be the end of Jack Rowley and
absolutely? Don't even start. I want to see Prendergast start every single Six Nations game, unless there's an injury or whatever. I would like to see him in the July series or whoever they're playing against. Oh, sorry. British and Irish Lions,
Wow.
it's different. That's tough.
The Leinster boys are going to absolutely love you, brother.
I don't know if he starts for the British and Irish Lions yet.
No, he doesn't, because it's Marcus Smith, Finn
But
Russell, probably Owen
does
Farrell.
not play Smith at 15? Or does he play Keenan at 15?
King Horn is there as well.
Oh, King Horn, yeah. I just saw, obviously, I saw.
No, I can't see Marcus Smith playing 15 for the British.
Do you think Prendergast goes?
Guaranteed Marcus Smith will be there. Guaranteed Finn Russell will be there. And I've got a very strong feeling that Owen Farrell will be there as well. So,
but he can't, can he?
Yes, he can.
He can't. No, he can't.
Yeah,
I'm sure he can't.
I'm pretty sure they wipe away the England thing. That's why everyone's talking about Jack Willis also being there.
We'll see, but I think Prendergast goes. Like, he's that good.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. Like, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he plays. Because Marcus Smith...
No, I don't think he starts. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he starts.
Maybe. He'll be there for the next one, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's only gotten into Leinster now. Like, the guy's got a couple of caps. He's played, 3 games for Ireland?
Look, I'm just...
And it's not like Finn Russell is playing bad rugby. Marcus Smith was probably the best 10 in the world.
Okay, someone wanted hot takes on this channel, right? Sam Prendergast is 5 times the player Finn Russell is. And I'll say that open-heartedly.
I agree. I've always said Finn Russell is overrated. I've always said it. Like, he does a couple of fighting stuff and then it's just like done.
But, yeah, okay, maybe I'm riding him too much. But, like, honestly, I think he's a super talent. And he is... I think he's the answer to a lot of Leinster's like slip-ups here and there, because obviously Sexton obviously has retired.
Do you want to throw some shade on Ross Byrne?
Absolutely. I think like you cannot make him play for or start for Leinster ever again. But
no,
we can move on.
Anyway, let's move on. We just had a lovely little episode. We're 40 minutes in and we're chatting. We're halfway through the fixtures. Massive victory. Benetton beating La Rochelle. Can you believe it? I told you this would be the most Benetton thing in the world to actually go ahead and beat La Rochelle. La Rochelle, who arguably should have beat Leinster, right, goes to Italy and they lose to... Was it the full strength La Rochelle team though? I'm not too sure.
Look, I can't lie and say I watched the game, so I'm not 100% sure. But to still beat La Rochelle as Benetton...
What are they doing? They had no right to do this. They struggled against Zebre twice.
Yeah, no,
they struggled against Zebre twice, but they beat Bath and they beat La Rochelle. And they should have beat Bristol as well. What is going on?
It doesn't make sense. Like, Munster and... Benetton are 2 teams that I can't wrap my head around how they...
And Harlequins. Harlequins, same one. Because, like, they lose against these shambles of a team, right? I mean, Benetton drew at home against Scarlets, but they beat La Rochelle.
Yeah,
this is the most typical Benetton thing. We actually called it, right? Obviously, we said La Rochelle will win, but we said this would be the most Benetton thing to go and win this game. They actually fucking did it. Harlequins not just beating Glasgow, kind of convincingly beating them. 17-point victory. Like, I switched between this and the Stormers game, and like every time I switched it on, I was like, well, Glasgow doesn't even look that threatening at the moment. Like, this was just a nice performance by the Harlequins.
Yeah.
And watching that while seeing my team lose was up there with sadness, like utter sadness.
Yeah, I think we're learning how competitive rugby is getting, not just at international level, but like in club level as well. Because we keep talking about how this might be an easy round of games to predict. And some teams will just say, no, not today. Like, it's just so competitive. No matter where you go, I don't think there's a team you can go to these days where you can think, okay, we've got this in the bag. Like, everyone is just full blown on being like competitive, and that's such a good thing for rugby because it's so much better than knowing, this team's going to win the league by the end of it. Obviously, we think that to
We've
lose
been
is
so
the
full of praise of Glasgow. Do we say they're just homegrown bullies now?
Maybe.
Because they lost to Harlequins and they lost to Toulon as well, right? They lost to Edinburgh away from home. And they've lost a couple of other games. And I think all of them were away from home. What are they, just another South African team? Are they living up to the Scottish A team, which is the South African B team? What is going on? Can't travel.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, because South African team, like you say, we can't travel. We stink at that. And then obviously now we're learning, can Glasgow travel? Like, it's these things where, like, is home ground like that important these days? Because it's crazy to think that, like, it is. But yeah, I'm just glad that it's in a competitive space, and I think Glasgow are still a great team, and I still expect to see them very much. Look, Champions Cup, I do expect them to get through to the quarterfinal and end up playing Leinster. But then I do expect them to fall short against Leinster. But I do expect them to have another URC charge, whether that's a final or a semi-final, I don't know. But
the sad thing for Glasgow is not the fact that they lost. The fact that they lost Sione Tuipolatu now. He's out for the Six Nations as well. That is a massive blow for Glasgow. That is a massive blow for Scotland. Because I've seen people talking about Scotland maybe winning the Six Nations and stuff, and they have that discussion every year, and I'm just like, no. Yeah. Let's not beat around the bush. No. They've got a strong 15. Squad depth is an issue, right? The quality that comes off the bench compared to the other teams and what they bring off the bench, I just think Scotland comes a bit short in terms of that. But losing your best player at the moment.
And your captain.
Yes, I forgot his captain as well. That is a tough one. Anyway, another upset victory. Saracens at home. I was so convinced losing to Cast. Who we said doesn't win away from home. They went to Saracens and put 32 points on them and won the game. What is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand.
Let's rather not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. We forget about our bad predictions, and we look at an 80-point beatdown of Toulouse on Leicester Tigers. 80 points.
Yeah, that's sickening. Like, did Leicester Tigers play their full strength team?
Hey?
Did Leicester Tigers play their full strength team?
I don't know.
Because before I make any comments, because I'll be very harsh if they played their full strength team.
I'm going to check now for you. Ange Capuozzo was sensational. Antoine Dupont was sensational. Intermuck, sensational. Jack Willis. Does that guy ever play a bad game?
Very consistent. Like, very.
Bro, yes, they did play their strongest team. Julian Montoya played. George Martin played. Ollie Chesson played. Tommy Raffel played. Jack van Poortvliet, Andre Pollard, Ollie Hassel-Collins, and Freddie Stewart.
Yeah, that is wild. Like, 80 points. Bro.
What is going on?
80 points. That's literally like, if you want to put that in it like a different way to understand it, that's like putting like men against boys.
Just like
men against boys.
Defeating Toulouse.
And the boys you played against were internationals for World Cup winning international there as well at 10. Like, 2 times. Dude.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
That's wild. 80 points.
I'm scared for what they would have done to the Sharks if they played in Toulouse.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that is why I say you are looking. Okay, no, actually, I said Leinster would win, to be fair. But that's why I said you're looking at the finalists there, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, Toulouse are making the final. Like, I have no Obviously, look, if I'm correct, they do end up playing Bordeaux if they win. Am I correct in saying?
They'll meet each other in the semi-final.
That is tough. Okay, that is tough. I'll give them that. But 80 points against Leicester Tigers. Whilst Leicester aren't the best in the Prem, I get it. They're still a very good side with a lot of internationals, with an international coach who's coached the Australians and the Argentinians. 80 points to 12 is a shambles. Like an absolute shambles.
Yeah. AJ Bell,
I don't know how I would live myself for the next 2 weeks. I would feel like I'm living in a simulation.
What's your biggest loss that you've ever taken?
My biggest loss. So when I was playing under 21s, we played against. Sorry?
Was that while you were in Italy?
No. So I was playing under 21s with my, not the club I'm at now. I was at a different club, and we played against a young guns team. Remember, well, obviously everyone will know them from South Africa. It's a Varsity Cup team, NWU Puka. You obviously know them. We played against their young guns, and we ended up losing after taking the lead, just Shark style, 10-0. They came back and they beat us. I think it was 110-10. It was
wow.
No, that was my worst loss and my only terrible loss. But those young guns teams from Puka and any university, they are like on another level, because obviously it's like it's another level playing against those guys who are just super fit and
But anyway, let's move on. AJ Bell bullied Toulon again, 33 points to 7, clinical, got all the points, got enough points difference to go from out of everything into the third spot actually in the Champions Cup. Crazy, beautifully done by Sale. I don't want to take anything away from it. Like, holy shit.
Yeah,
I didn't expect it. I said Toulon's going to win.
The craziest thing to me, right, in this whole thing is, like you said, Sale finished third, correct?
Yeah.
You beat them 40-0.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't even go to the Challenge Cup. Like,
it's sad for the Stormers, because we beat Sale 40-0, and I thought we were very good. I felt like when you looked at that performance against Toulon with all our injuries, we could have won that one. We had our opportunities to win that one as well, right? Like, Toulon played very well. I'm not taking anything. I'm not saying we deserve to win. I'm saying we had our opportunities to go and win that one. You look at the game against Racing, where I feel like we arguably should have won if we just decided to tackle, And it's like, we've placed last. Well, if we played our full-strength team and actually backed the boys, we could have easily gotten into the top 2.
Yep.
We left so many points out there every single game. It's just sad to watch it, right? Like, I wanted Sale to stink it out, but obviously now I don't have bantering rights or anything like that, so I'll just have to accept it. It is what it is. Well done to them. I don't want to take anything away. So to beat Toulon, who we've been so impressed with, well done.
Yeah.
Tough pill to swallow.
Yep. It's humble pie for the Sappers.
Yeah. Should we wrap it up? Do we have anything else to say?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna.
Yeah, we've got 52 minutes here with the people. Yeah. Sure. Thank you for watching, everyone. Crazy weekend of rugby, but we do appreciate you guys. And
back to URC.
Hey?
Back to URC now.
Yeah. I'm not really excited with that because we're playing Leinster. Anyway, see you guys on Friday morning. This one will be going out on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
No. Yeah. I'll put it out on Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, bye-bye, everyone.
Cheers.